There are awakenings that whisper. There are awakenings that shake you. But when it comes to the third awakening, something much more intense happens. He announces himself through the windows of his soul. Your eyes become a mirror, not only of your current state, but of the powerful transformation that pulsates within you. And while many are ignorant of these subtle changes, you have begun to realize that your eyes are no longer the same. This is not a common change. It is a spiritual sign, a milestone that represents the transition from silent to fully activated chosen seeker. In this video, you'll discover how the eyes reveal their entry into the third awakening and what to do when the signs appear. Let's get started. Music. In biology class, we learn that pupils react only to one thing: light. Point a flashlight at the eye and the pupil constricts. Turn off the lights and it expands. Simple. But what you have never been told is this: during a spiritual shift, your pupils begin to respond to energy as well. You may be in a closed room without any change in lighting, and suddenly notice your pupils constrict sharply or expand without explanation. It is something subtle, which would only be noticed if you observed yourself in the mirror or during meditation. But the reason behind this is profound. As you enter the third awakening, your physical senses begin to perceive non-physical phenomena. You no longer react only to visual stimuli, it's reacting to frequencies. Your eyes begin to respond to auric fields, emotional vibrations, and unseen presences. For example, you might walk into a room where someone argued moments before. There is no visual clue, but the tension remains in the air. Your body feels strange, and if you notice the reflection, you can see your narrower pupils. Or when listening to spiritual music, entering a sacred space, or having a divine thought, your pupils gently expand, as if seeking to absorb more of that invisible light. In other words, your pupils are becoming spiritual sensors, automatically adjusting to the energetic environment around you. This is not something that most people experience. It happens when awakening goes beyond theory and into the embodied phase, where even your physical body begins to dance with the frequencies of the unseen world. The key is to pay attention. Don't just watch your mood, watch your eyes. They may already be tracking down something that their mind hasn't yet grasped. This experience can seem both surreal and lonely. You may see yourself sitting in a room, your gaze fixed on a wall, a person, or even the sky, but without actually looking at them. Their eyes are open, but they look through things, not at them. This is what we call the veil look, and it is one of the most striking signs of the third awakening. At this stage, your consciousness begins to transit between two realities, the physical and the spiritual. Your body remains in the environment, but your soul begins to access deeper timelines, spiritual memories, and higher dimensional data. And it shows in your eyes. This distant look usually makes others uncomfortable. Often, someone may wave in front of you, snap their fingers, or ask, "Where were you just now?" But you didn't go anywhere. He just slid behind the veil for a moment. His consciousness expanded beyond the limits of material perception. You didn't leave the room, it just accessed a broader version of it. The veil's gaze is not being in the moon world, it's a kind of interior scan. It is a form of soul vision, where your body sits in the background while your spirit perceives hidden connections, ancient truths, or divine insights. Although it may seem that time has stopped, in fact, you were synchronizing, even if only for a moment, with the real dimension of your soul. This happens especially after deep healing processes, dreams, or moments of silence. Don't fight it. The more you allow these experiences, the more stable your perception between worlds will become. Eventually your eyes start to carry that gaze all the time. Not because you are lost, but because you are aware of something beyond. This look, by the way, is why many spiritual masters, mystics or seers, seem so serene and distant when you meet them. Part of their consciousness already inhabits infinity, and their eyes reveal it. You may have noticed people staring at you more often on the street, in cafes, in elevators. Strangers maintain unexpected eye contact or look twice. At first, you may wonder if there's something wrong with your face or if your expression is weird, but then he understands that it is nothing like that. What they are feeling is your energetic gaze. During the third awakening, your eyes begin to radiate frequency. You don't just look at things, you transmit it through the gaze. And sensitive people, consciously or unconsciously, perceive the intensity of this transmission. Your eyes become like towers of energetic signal. They transmit vibration, emotion, perception. Even in silence, his gaze leaves marks. You may not say anything in a conversation, but people remember how you looked at them. Some are attracted, others uncomfortable. This is because the energy of your gaze reveals the truth, and the truth is powerful. This magnetic gaze does not come from effort. It arises naturally when your soul begins to express itself through vision. The light behind your eyes becomes visible to others, sometimes literally. Many describe this gaze as penetrating, profound, impossible to ignore. And with that comes another change. You can no longer sustain eye contact with people you don't feel aligned with. Maintaining a false gaze becomes impossible because eye contact ceases to be social and becomes an energetic fusion. At this stage, you feel this exchange intensely. People who carry secrets, guilt, or heavy energy often avert your eyes without understanding why. Those who are also awakening feel attracted because they recognize you. You may have also noticed sunlight looks more aggressive. Cell phone screens seem more cumbersome. Very bright environments cause headaches. It's not imagination. You're experiencing a peak in sensitivity to light, and that is one of the clearest signs that you are entering the third awakening. But the truth is this: it has nothing to do with your physical eyes. It's not vision loss. It's not eye strain. It is spiritual sensitivity manifesting itself through the optic nerves. You begin to decode information embedded in the light. That's right, light is not just visual, it is vibrational. Light carries frequency, data, emotion, even spiritual codes. During this phase of awakening, your body becomes hyper-responsive to these frequencies. That's why you may be attracted to candlelight, the moon, or the evening sun. These fonts carry softer, healing codes, and your body desires them. Artificial lights, on the other hand, from LEDs and screens, often cause pain or disorientation. This sensitivity doesn't just happen in the eyes. It involves the entire nervous system. The eyes are only the first point where it manifests itself. You start to perceive colors, brightness, movements, and even certain shades with greater intensity. This is because your inner being is trying to be guided by energy and not just logic. The light becomes a map. What once seemed normal now feels too aggressive because you are adjusting to a new dimension of perception. It is not a setback, it is an advance. And the more you respect this process, the easier it becomes. Wear sunglasses, dim the lights, spend more time at twilight. Allow your eyes to relearn how to relate to natural lighting, and you'll soon notice something strange. Certain lights don't just shine, they communicate. That's when you realize that you've stepped into something beyond awakening. You are learning to read the language of light. This is a subtle but deeply spiritual sign. You may begin to notice a kind of translucent veil over people's faces. If you observe them long enough, it is not hallucination. You're starting to see their energetic identity, the part that's often hidden under their personality. It's as if you see two versions of the same person, the outer shell and an emotional signature hanging over them. This is a sign of activation of spiritual vision, and usually begins with the eyes during the third awakening. Sometimes this veil reveals emotions, other times old pains. At times, it's just a silent knowing. You understand who the person is without needing words. That's why conversations start to sound different. You no longer just listen, you read. In quiet moments, or when you are concentrating, you may see subtle flashes of light, like small dots shining in the air. They are not eye spots. They are energetic points manifesting in the visual field. You are beginning to see the lattice behind physical reality, the subtle code that connects all things. These flashes are evidence that your eyes are working in lockstep with the third eye. The energetic map of the world is becoming visible, albeit in flashes. It is common for this to be more intense when waking up, during meditation, or after prayer. At first, you might think you imagined it, but over time, they increase until they become streams of energy, guiding you into dimensions you never thought you would be able to see. There is a glow that cannot be created by lighting or camera tricks. It is the silent glow, a calm but undeniable clarity that settles in the eyes of those who go through the third awakening. That glow doesn't flicker. It does not flicker, but when someone looks into your eyes, it feels as if a light is alive behind them. You will notice this when you compare old photos of yourself. The eyes of before seem cloudy, those of now clearer, as if a storm had passed. That quiet glow happens when you no longer carry the hidden darkness. You have already purified enough to become visible to the divine. You're not crying, but your eyes water. He is not moved, but a tear forms. Why? Because during the third awakening, your body is overloaded with subtle spiritual energy, and the tear glands release fluid to regulate this excess. Tears are no longer just emotion. They become energetic release valves. You may feel a lump in your throat when you hear a song or witness a truth. Your eyes may water during moments of silence or beauty. These are not ordinary reactions, they are releases. Your soul is remembering things that are too deep for your conscious mind to explain. And your eyes, portals of your being, are trying to keep up with this flood of light. Have you ever found yourself staring at a symbol, a spiral, a triangle, a sequence of numbers without being able to turn away? This is not mere aesthetic curiosity. It is your spiritual intuition leading your attention to sacred visual patterns. During the third awakening, your eyes start to function as frequency scanners. You begin to fixate on shapes, faces, and symbols that correspond to the vibration that your soul needs to absorb. You see faces in clouds, shapes in reflections, sacred geometry in ordinary objects, and instead of ignoring it, you feel a calling. His pupils dilate, his breathing calms, his mind is silent. This is your awakening by turning your vision into a divine language decoding device. There is also a very specific pressure that builds up behind the eyes. It is not pain, but something noticeable. It often arises during meditation, prayer, or deep concentration. It may feel like someone is gently pressing from the inside out. It's not sinusitis. It's not tiredness. It's your pineal gland beginning to pulsate, creating a subtle movement that shifts energy into the visual system. The third eye is not only symbolic, it is neurobiological, and during awakening, this system is activated. The pressure behind the eyes is an early phase where your inner and outer vision begin to align. This overlap creates the strange sensation of feeling the vision. The third awakening does not scream. He faces it, staring back through the mirror, through others, through flashes of light, through symbols not yet understood. And if your eyes have done any of these things, you're not imagining it. You are no longer the same person you used to be. Your spiritual vision is guiding the way now. Your eyes are no longer just for seeing. They are navigational tools, scanning for truths, warning of misalignments, and revealing what's real behind what's seen. This is the third awakening. It begins in the soul, but manifests itself in the eyes.